Mm-mm. Hello. Brand new day, brand new Higurashi chapter. Chapter 8. I just noticed something pretty cool. Well, I don't know how pretty cool. It's kind of nifty though. In this one, when you click load game, it brings you to the page where your last save is. And I'm like 90% sure every other game. I mean, maybe it was different in my Tashi because it's like in the same answer art thing, but I'm pretty sure they like put you on page one, then you have to like click to page two or page three wherever you're at. This one automatically puts you where your last save game is. Now that's literally saving you like 1 second, but quality of life fixes. I appreciate it. Tsumihoroboshi. But this time, new chapter. Last one was a doozy. We got some Oishi. He's in the scene. We got some new info about maybe what's happening with the throat ripping. I guess you can't really say for sure. But it sounds like pretty good tech with the major thing. Pretty good hint too, saying that maybe it's because of it. It sounds kind of far fetched though. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The idea of like because of the situation and the immense pressure from living in Hinamizawa plus whatever the normal paranoia thing is, it creates like this curse thing. And like I can buy it for Keiichi, I can buy it for Shion, and I can buy it for Rena. I don't know if I'm feeling it for Tomotaki though. I can kind of buy for Rika. I don't like. I think Tomotaki is the wild card though, unless like the injecting shot is maybe something that makes you super stressed, and that maybe that made sense why they're trying to throw it out, because the stress of the drug or whatever accelerates the process. But like, why would Tomotaki suffer from that when he doesn't even live in Hinamizawa, right? So I think that's the one weakness to the thing, but it sounds pretty good. If you want the logical point of view. Now, do I think the mages exist? No, just because no one else could see them. It could be a magic thing where only certain people can see them, but it definitely sounds more psychological. But yeah, we have two good things going. We have the more magical side. Like I have a couple answers for that, but for the like human stuff, I think this is probably the best answer. My answer was already pretty similar to this before anyways. I didn't like connect everything, but I did say that maybe they're all just paranoid. I didn't take it a step further. The man in the hint, the doctor who put the note on the back of a Chinese, or not Chinese, just a lunch checklist. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sure we'll explore that some more too. What am I hoping for this chapter? Or what do I predict? No idea. Um, Oishi's teaming up with or trying to team up with Rena for this one. I don't think it'll go as smoothly as it did with Keiichi, if you can even call that that. I don't think Oishi's gonna have as much leverage as you think he does, but let's see how this goes. Maybe we'll get some more idea on this on why the throat ripping happens and stuff. Continue chapter 8. We're getting there. Though my Tashi was like 15 chapters, I think 13 to 15. About homing ability and homesickness. If you interpret homing ability in a broad sense, you can say that most animals have a homing ability. It's the same with humans. We like to sleep, rest, and eat at a place where we feel comfortable, namely our homes. Okay, that's what I thought it was. I was like, maybe do they have like homing missiles? You can lock on to something. But no, this made sense. This sounds like a hint, by the way. Why is this in my chapter? Your home is to you what nests are to animals. Therefore, we can say that humans having a homing ability have a homing ability as well. Just the adaptability to turn something into your home, or just the effect of having a home. Those, when they say ability, it makes me think it's like the prior. First of all, why do animals need nests? The answer is the same for humans. Sleeping, resting, and eating are the essential actions for survival. At the same time, those actions leave one defenseless as well. That's why you need a safe area where you can be defenseless. Nice, I agree. Everybody knows that not having the safe area results in high levels of stress. When you move an animal to a new environment, it naturally becomes stressed. When you force a person to live in a foreign land where they aren't comfortable, they become greatly stressed as well. Everybody also knows that this kind of stress is called homesickness. The Japanese don't know much about homesickness. We defined it as mental weakness and we neglected to treat it for a long period of time. However, homesickness has a very long history. In Europe's Middle Ages, people believed that it wasn't a mental, but rather a physical disease. People also believed that out of everyone, the Swiss got the disease the most. The Swiss, you see, were known to be an ethnic group that worked away from home in that era. They lived far away from their homes, and there were no telephones at the time, so they couldn't even hear their families' voices for ages and ages. It's easy to imagine that young Swiss workers got homesick while working in a strange land. These Swiss who got homesick wanted to go home, but they couldn't because of their jobs. The conflict made them weak physically and mentally. Some of them went crazy and tried to escape from reality by committing suicide or running away. The Swiss at the time were very superstitious, and many folk remedies and occult-like treatments to prevent homesickness went around. Since going home was the only treatment, they must have called it a fatal disease. But it isn't really one, of course. Specifically, homesickness is a sign of that human homing instinct. Your brain desires to go back to your safe area, namely your home. At first, your brain makes you remember the happy memories of your home, and it urges you to go home in a natural way. But when reason stops you from achieving your desire, your brain starts sending unnatural signals to your body. As a result, your body gets weak, and that makes it more difficult for you to live in a strange land. In the end, you have to bend reason in order to achieve your desire to go home. So, homesickness is born from our homing instincts. And the stronger one's homing instinct is, the stronger their homesickness. The strength of that homing instinct varies from individual to individual and depends on the environment in which those individuals live. When your home is safe and the environment you live in is dangerous, your homing instinct grows stronger. On the other hand, when the environment you live in is safer than your homing instinct becomes very weak. Okay, well, they called it ability before, but instinct makes a lot more sense to it. Safety isn't the only element that affects its strength, cultural aspects affect it too. The many customs demanding families to return home for major events varies within each region, so your birthplace's culture also alters the strength of your homing instinct. Amongst those regions, the transcendents of Onidafuchi village were believed to have an excessively strong homing instinct. Okay, I just realized this was Takano's thing. I got what they were going for, obviously. It more reminded me of Rena and how, I guess, you could call, like, her desire to go back to Hinamizawa. It's an extreme case of homesickness, but Takano's just talking about in general, I guess, if this is her secret stuff, which I assume it is. The people of Onidafuchi forbade their fellows from ever leaving. Many believe this was the effect of the elitism and sense of purity I already mentioned before. People today still strongly believe that Oyashiro-sama puts his curse on you if you break his rule and abandon the village. This superstition can be interpreted as homesickness. If homesickness is directly proportional to one's homing instinct, then the exaggerated expression curse would signify the strength of that homesickness and also their homing instinct. I can assume they hated the outside world and created an insular society precisely because of their powerful homing ability. Unfortunately, there's no way to measure the strength of the homing ability that the primitive people of Onidafuchi had. It was so strongly forbidden to leave the village that nobody left long enough to get homesick. However, after the Meiji era, things have changed. The sacredness of Onidafuchi dwindled with the efforts of modernization. Many young people started longing for city life, and some people were forced to leave the village to get a job. As a result, villagers started venturing outside the village borders. That was when the transcendents of Onikafuji realized how strong their homing ability was for the first time. The residents of Hinamizawa got extremely homesick. Wonder where she's getting this data too, because this sounds like very specific. Obviously, we're not going to see any examples, I'm guessing, but I wonder. I mean, just dotted around, spending her whole life for this or whatever. Not that, but extreme obsession of the mythos of Hinamizawa might be a better way to put it. After a while, people started to call this homesickness the curse of Oyashiro-sama. It became rumored that a person who left the village to get a job in a strange land was cursed, that he went crazy and died, and people who left the village started coming back to either it or the nearby town. Okay, this is more explanation, kind of going back to what the other person said, though the other person was specifically targeting Rena, but then he said it. Like, these are probably lesser cases, because they probably didn't go through traumatic events, but Takano is like claiming that even if you didn't have any like real traumatic events, like even if you just have a little stress from your job or something, you'll start to desire to go back home. Maybe instead of Oyashiro's curse, we can call it like Oyashiro's, I don't know, disease. It's not really a disease though. I don't know. We'll just call it a curse. But we should have a difference between the supernatural theories and the non ones. I don't know, I'll think of something better later. Their homesickness and their homing ability were very strong because of their culture. It's reasonable to think that these were cultivated by the unique religion in Hinamizawa, namely the cult of Oyashiro-sama. From the moment they were born, they were taught the rules of Oyashiro-sama. They must have felt guilty about leaving the village unconsciously. As a result, they considered their homesickness to be the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I'm not sure if their homesickness got stronger because of the rules of Oyashiro-sama, or if they made the rules of Oyashiro-sama because their homesickness got stronger. I don't know which came first. It's kind of weird. So I wonder if Takano actually believes in Oyashiro-sama or not. She's always interested in like the rituals and stuff, but I don't know if she actually stated if she believes it or not. Sorry, I skipped that. It's kind of weird. But I mean, you can believe in like the homesickness stuff and still believe that there is Oyashiro-sama. Which I guess it is a guy. I don't know who. Someone said it was a guy. I think it was Rena, so we'll just go with he. Or maybe he's just chilling and not cursing anyone. He's just chilling in the village, you know, watching over it. And this is all other stuff, you know. This disease, mental disease thing is just the nature of the village, and then there's someone else going around killing people. You know. The true identity of the curse of Oyashiro-sama is homesickness? Mio-san believed my story, and she let me read these scrapbooks. That's why I expected to find something interesting. But what it's saying is the answer to all is... Blah, blah, blah. But what it's saying is that the answer to it all is homesickness, which many doctors told me many times at counseling. I'm a little upset. The word homesickness can explain the extraordinary experience I had. I mean, extreme case of homesickness to the point where you're having delusions. I saw Yashiro-sama come down to me from a bright light in the bathroom. I saw the dusky red nasty maggots come out of my blood vessels. Well, Takano didn't mention any maggots, so like maybe it happens only in super extreme cases, or maybe it's actually unrelated to this homesickness thing. It might be. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's something different, and that's why Tomodachi got it too. Or someone... There's no way it's a bait, right? There's no way someone baited it, and like they made it look like Tomodachi died the way you would die from a curse, just because that wouldn't bait anyone except for the reader, which is weird. I don't think they would do that. Like, it doesn't bait any of the characters, because none of the characters really know about it, except for Rena. It's only for the reader, so... And I doubt they're trying to bait Rena into it, so... Seems a little silly. So it's probably not that. The scrapbook doesn't explain any of that. It's new tat. Takano doesn't know everything. I don't know. I don't understand how Mio-san was going to explain the cloud of maggots. Maybe she didn't have any explanation of that to begin with. Was it just a delusion? I flipped through one of the other scrapbooks Mio-san let me borrow, looking for an explanation of the maggots I saw. Then I found it. Never mind, Shiori. What? Okay. It had the exact title I was looking for. Man, she really has. Okay, so this is... She has everything, dude. She's the Wikipedia of the Hinamizawa history. Alright, let's see what the maggots are about. About maggots and the curse of Oyasho-sama. In the Meiji area, a group of villagers were on their way back to Hinamizawa, and they started discussing a rumor about a weird disease. They said that maggots started crawling out of the wounds of a person who left Hinamizawa, and the maggots ate that person's body from the inside. The Shinto priest of the Furude shrine at the time explained that the weird disease was a sign of the curse of Oyasho-sama. According to the tradition, the Shinto priest showed the villagers an ancient scroll, and he told them that the story of the maggots had been passed down through the ages. I mean, so it's ancient, but the homesickness, the Oyashiro sickness, could have been happening back then too if they all followed the same religion, which perpetuates it, I guess. This is what the scroll said. The world where the demons came from must be interpreted as the land of death. And the demons in that land of death had to live their lives while being eaten by maggots. The villagers who were of the demon's blood had nothing to worry about as long as they lived in Hinamizawa under the protection of Oyasho-sama. But once they left Hinamizawa, abandoning that protection, the maggots that had been sleeping in the blood of the demons would start to awake, and they'd eat their bodies from the inside out. This maggot disease scared the villagers for a while, and they asked the shrine to provide them with protective talismans whenever they had to leave the village on business. This is interesting, as it's similar to the way homesickness was dealt with by the Swiss in the Middle Ages. After the war started, the delusion of the maggot's disease faded away, but there remained a custom to send talismans to the families that lived away from Hinamizawa. The talismans that had the word maggot on them. But the most interesting part of all this was that the residents of Hinamizawa didn't know about the maggot disease until the rumors began. I thought their unconscious worship made those people think of the homesickness as a curse. So this case of the previous unknown maggot disease directly contradicted the research I had done so far. Throat's a little rusty tonight, huh? So what she's saying basically is that the people, she believed that the people were imagining this just because of the culture of Hinamizawa, but this maggot disease thing wasn't really, spread through the village until, people started experiencing it beforehand, so you can't really explain it, they're scared about the curse when they hadn't known about the maggot stuff, is what's happening here. It's natural to think that the group of people who were on their way back to the village were lost in a mass delusion because they strongly believed in the curse, and that the Shinto priest took advantage of the state of panic to install a deeper faith in them. But I'm not fully convinced that it was merely a coincidence that this mass delusion matched with the story in the old picture scroll. I wonder if it's possible to see the maggots in a wound without having the prerequisite knowledge when a person is cursed by Oyasho-sama. I wish Oyasho-sama would put his curse on someone I could study. Unlucky. Oh, maybe she was studying someone, though. Not Rena, though. So Rena obviously falls in the category of believing in the curse, but not in the maggots. I don't know. But maybe Takano was taking notes on someone. I mean, it could be anyone. There's no real. We haven't really seen something. Maybe Rita, because I kind of suspect her for Rita's death. Oh, maybe Tomotaki. I don't know how it would affect him, but I guess he kept going to Hinamizawa. And that's why she's so friendly with Tomotaki, because she was really using him as a test subject. I don't know, some possibilities for thought. I'd love to see those mages coming out of someone. Nice. I felt as if Mio-san was here and making that request of me. I remember. When she gave me the scrapbooks, she said that I might be the only one who could understand them. I felt good just for a moment, because I found out that the mages weren't a delusion. But at the same time, it destroyed my excuse that it was a delusion. The mages weren't a delusion, they were there. All of a sudden, my wrists, elbow, and inner thighs and neck started itching. I felt the urge to cut open a blood vessel, but I quietly held it down. I remember that Mio-san looked very serious when I talked about the mages. She must have thought it was creepy. But so did I. While I was crying because nobody believed me, a part of me didn't want to believe that my body was filled with those creepy things. I think a part of me wanted to believe that it was a delusion. But now I know it wasn't. It wasn't a delusion. There are some people who had the same experience. Mages in the demon's blood will awaken when you lose the protection of Oyashiro-sama. In other words, they may not awaken under the protection of Oyashiro-sama. But all the villagers still had mages in them without knowing it. People of the demon's blood are people who have creepy mages in their bodies. Maybe the mages are a sign of, I don't know. We'll leave the theories for a little bit. I try not to jump to conclusions and flip the pages again. I unconsciously looked for something related to mages. About parasites and control of the host. The mage disease made me think about something. Is it possible to say that the extremely strong homesickness of Hinamizawa... That didn't spook me as much as usual, but still a bit. The extremely strong homesickness of Hinamizawa was an infectious disease caused by some kind of parasite. I'm not trying to connect the mages they saw with parasites. I'm trying to think about the possibility that their culture, their religion, might be associated with an infectious disease. Okay, so saying, like, it's not just because of the... Oh, no. It's like saying, like, in the religion of Oyashiro-sama, maybe as a baby, they, like, baptize them by, like, I don't know, doing something, putting a parasite in them, and that's why this happens. Maybe they're literally... The problem with that is, people looked at Rena's, like, blood, and they didn't see any mages. So it can't be, like, real mages, like Rena's kind of saying. I don't know. Many infectious diseases are caused unintentionally by parasites. A parasite's host is literally its home. It wants to live within the host's body for as long as it can. The best way to do that is to coexist with the host without the host knowing it. But some parasites try to control their hosts and use them for prosperity. For example, some parasites have the ability to control their host, in order to force them to be eaten by a superior host. Ooh, it's kind of spooky. A typical example is the... Don't hit me with this. Dicrocilium detriticum? I don't know. It uses snails or ants as intermediate hosts and forces them to move to the upper side of the vegetation so that it's easier for a superior host to consume it. One parasite that controls more complicated animals is called Toxoplasma gondii. It uses mice as intermediate hosts, with superior hosts being cats. I want to Google that, dude. That's a funny name. Toxoplasma gondii. Wait, Toxoplasma gondii. Get me some image. Well, it's a cell, so I guess that doesn't matter. It's real, though. Beautiful. Don't infect the cats, dude. Yo. What if that... No, never mind. It's okay. Never mind. This parasite makes a mouse lose its fear of cats in order to increase its chance of getting eaten, so that the parasite can live within a cat instead. There are parasites that choose hosts at random. The rabies virus is commonly known for that. It lives and breeds in the brain of a host, and it moves into the host's saliva through the salivary glands. It makes the host extremely aggressive in order to make it bite things randomly so that it can in turn move into other hosts through the saliva. That's what rabies does. I actually knew that, so I know stuff, a little bit of stuff. Many parasites have a similar ability to control hosts to their benefit. The examples I used above are about parasites that move into other hosts to prosper. But I think there must be some kind of parasite that controls its host in order to have a comfortable environment in which to live. Yo, what if we look at this differently? What if, instead of Rena's theory, what if the villagers of Hinamizawa are the parasites to the land of Hinamizawa, which is the host? You know, scale it up a bit. Rena's thinking on the small side, I'm thinking on the big side. What if the Hinamizawa villagers are actually hurting Hinamizawa? You know, probably because they kill someone every year, and it does something to the host. And this is, all the bad stuff is like a chain reaction of Hinamizawa punching back. Or, you know, you can switch Hinamizawa with Oyashiro-sama. Same difference, punching back. That's something to think about. That's actually not bad for this topic anyways. I don't know about this Rena though. This seems a little too far-fetched. I mean, I can see it though. Like, maybe it isn't even part of their religion. What if, like, just in some of their, in like the lake or whatever, something in the plants has a parasite, but it just gets into the ridiculous point, right? I don't know about this. Let's say there's some kind of parasite that exists in Hinamizawa, and it lives within all of the villagers' bodies. For the parasite, Hinamizawa is the most comfortable environment to live in. So it gives the host a strong homing ability in order to make them stay in Hinamizawa. Furthermore, it causes the host to get homesick whenever they ignore this homing ability and try to leave. It's interesting though. I can see it also. It kind of works if you're thinking it's more of a conspiracy type thing, you know, maybe going with the Irie mastermind theory. Maybe that's the flu shots you're getting. It's not really flu shots. It's the Irie parasite. Or give him a little bit of vitamin O for Oyashiro. It's convenient for them. It's convenient for them if their host builds a community in the environment where it feels comfortable. Yo, I think we're getting too hype. We need to calm down a bit. It's like last episode, I think I was getting... Was it last episode? I don't remember. Gotta chill a bit, or it just gets kind of weird, huh? This theory makes it easier for me to explain the mysterious mysteries I described earlier. You know, I'm not totally feeling this theory, but it's not terrible. It just feels kind of weird. But you know, it's probably like on the same level as the drudge theory, so maybe a little bit more far-fetched, but I'll keep it in the back pocket just to say I didn't completely not believe it if this is the truth. I mean, it only works with like the Irie theory, I think. I don't think it's Takano. Like, if Irie is the mastermind, this works. I don't think it would work if it's Takano, because she's more believing in, like, people are willingly do this for Oyashiro-sama, like a cult, and this just doesn't sound like Oishi at all, so it's more of an Irie theory. I don't know if if Rena would make that connection. They knew that, as hosts to the parasites, they couldn't live outside the village. That's why they created culture and rules that prohibited contact with the outside world. And so she's doing more with the village. No, but this means that the village knows about it, or maybe actually I guess they technically don't have to. The village created it, but maybe this rule didn't get passed down. So even if none of the elders or leaders knew, then technically it doesn't mean it's not true. But it's still a little weird. I don't know about that. It also explains why people acted so abnormal during the dam conflict. So, the demons that came out of the swamp in the legend of Oyashiro-sama can be interpreted as the mass spread of the parasite. I don't like this theory. This theory is not as spicy. It's spicy, but it's not like... I'm not vibing with it, Rena. I'm sorry. Again, it's in the back pocket, but... You know, when we get your theory sessions with like Shion's theory sesh, it carried a lot more weight, even though it didn't turn out to be true. Well, maybe you can call it half true, but just not the leadership part from the leaders of the village. But this one's a little too. It's not even spicy. It's a little like, you know, I like sriracha sauce. This is like oh no, I'm trying to it's like Popeye's hot sauce. It's not great, it's not horrible. You know, I like to mix it with ketchup and then it's alright. But I'd rather take some sriracha sauce and also mix it with ketchup. It's new tech, mix hot sauce with ketchup. I think it's a good mix for whatever sauce, but I think sriracha is the best for it. Is that a good comparison? I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not feeling this one as much, and you think I might because it's pretty spicy, but I don't know, it's weirding me out. The story about the demons attacking the villagers must be a metaphor. Maybe it's because of just how confident she is in this theory. But to be fair, when I think of a cool theory, I'd probably pop off too, so I understand you, Rena. This is probably how people feel like when they hear me popping off about Rena stabbing Keiichi while cosplaying as Mion, huh? They'd probably be a little weirded out by it. This is a very talkative session, huh? Has there been any voice dialogue? And again, my throat is in top shape for this, so it's a little rough, huh? This theory is too crazy. I should have just laughed about it. But I felt bad for Mio-san, so I decided not to. Wait. Oh, I'm tripping. This was Takano's theory. I thought this was a Rena theory. Okay, that changes things a bit. But the thing is, Takano probably has like 1 billion theories in her theory sheets. Like, she basically has theory sheets too, right? So, if Takano thinks like me, she probably writes a bunch of theories, some probably contradicting others, so it's not too bad. Okay, it's not Rena, it's Takano. I got confused just because of how I thought this was Rena's thought process. Okay, I mean, does it add validity? Not really, but I kind of understand it more. It definitely feels more Takano. I don't know why I thought it was Rena. I'm tripping. Hinami's is controlled by a parasite? Well, if you can call Oyashiro-sama a parasite, maybe. Like I said, maybe Irie is shooting up some Oyashiro in you. And he's just the delusions from this drug Irie has that's been used in ancient times by the doctors of Hinamizawa. There you go, that's something. You can use that theory to explain how the mages came out of me. I felt a little bit dizzy. I was so confused, and a part of me thought that it was ridiculous. And another part of me thought it was more convincing than any curse. I mean, in a way. But Mio-san was probably erased because she wrote these scrapbooks. If so, the contents of these scrapbooks must be something that they can't ignore. They try to get all of her scrapbooks and consign them to oblivion. What if they notice some of her scrapbooks are missing? I felt a chill running through my spine. I have to keep it a secret that I have these scrapbooks. And I have to understand more about their contents. I remember Mio-san told me that the three families are behind the series of mysterious deaths, and they're trying to resurrect the cult of Oyashiro-sama. And this is just, taking the information from Mayatashi. This is, pretty much false. Again, maybe the Team Yoshi's doing some shady stuff, but I'm inclined to believe. Again, I'm at a hot 95% that the Sonozakis don't, they could have done one or two, but I don't think they're, really trying to resurrect the cult of Oyashiro-sama. The Oryu does like people going to the festival, but, It's like, I feel like I've been typing that in front of my comments more often. I don't know, it's a good opener. It's like I'm thinking about it shows that I'm thinking about your comment, which adds some some more respect when you read it or something. I don't know, it's kind of new tech. I like it. That doesn't mean that I don't respect your comment. It's just more appreciation. Using a little trick. I don't know. I'm literally just making this up, but maybe that works. According to the theory I just read, the parasites must be trying to maintain the current of environment of Hinamizawa. The healthiest environment for it is a completely closed village, just like the primitive Onigafuchi. It must be very comfortable for the parasite if no hosts go outside the village. They don't even like that the villagers often leave the village to go shopping. That means the parasite would try to goad the hosts into resurrecting the cult of Oyashiro-sama. I remember where there was an article in the scrapbook saying that the demon's blood runs thickest in the three families. That would mean they have a larger amount of parasite in them than the other villagers, and that they're under its control. The three families seem to be planning to bring the village back to the Onigafuchi era. Honestly, can you really see that though? I don't think that's Rita's intent. Honestly, Rita's probably the biggest suspect for this motive, but again, we don't know much about the Kimiyoshi family, and I don't know about the Sonozakis. I really don't feel like it. I don't know about this theory. Reviving the Watanashi festival after the dam conflict can be interpreted as their desire to revive the faith that had started to fade away in the Meiji era. They definitely like the people worshipping. It's not too far-fetched, I guess. I don't know. The three families, especially the Sonozaki family, have a great influence over the region and the public organizations. What's going on here? I thought this to be a poorly written theory, but the pieces fit together one after another. I think it's kind of they kind of fit together, but you're kind of forcing them a bit. I've never played a jigsaw puzzle as crazy as this. Man. I felt my brain swirl due to this absurd theory. A part of me thought this was ridiculous, and another part of me thought I might be about to expose an unbelievable truth. Oh no. When I tried to look into the center of it, I felt as if I was going to fall into a whirlpool and drown. I'm guessing there's some half-truth to it. That's what they did with Mayatashi, I believe. Or a quarter truth. Maybe a third truth. But, yeah. I'll have to devote myself to reading more seriously. There must be some truth to this. I agree, there probably is some. It caused misfortune and made my life miserable after I moved to Ibaraki. I might be able to find the truth, including the cause of my parents' divorce and my desperate behavior. See, that's the reaching part. The desire for that. Right then, I heard a knock on the door, all of a sudden scaring me. I hid the scrapbooks under a cushion. We're getting some dialogue. Can I take a break?
Reina, 電話が来てるぞ.
It's Rena's dad.
電話こんな時間に
It's gonna be Oishi.
誰だろう
本屋さんからだぞ.
Joke.
本の取り寄せとか頼んだのか?
It's Takano's ghost.
沖宮書房の大石さんって人からだ。
Oh, never mind. It was Oishi. The chapter break, 40-minute. You know what? Get a shorter episode in there. I feel like the last like 3 episodes have been like fairly long. You need a break. That was definitely a scrapbook reading fest. You know, I don't hate it. Get me some information. Pretty interesting information. Got a wild theory. The parasite theory. I don't know. I'm gonna need to let that marinate for a bit. It doesn't really flow with me, but feels kind of dank. I don't know. Obviously, I don't believe with the part where the villagers, the head of the villagers, are using the parasite or what. Or I guess the parasite's using the head of the villagers to do it. It just seems so. It kind of just takes away all motive by giving everyone one big motive, and it doesn't really feel great. But you know, we're just gonna have to let that see. Maybe the next time I record a session, I'll be like, guys, the parasite theory is real. I've seen the light. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed the scrapbooking session. We'll maybe get some more of that later. See if we got some more Takano tech. It's always good to see. I appreciate Takano's theories. I mean, to be fair, I don't think I would ever come to that conclusion, and I didn't have the major information back then. But it's a hard pill to swallow. But maybe that's why it's such a wacky truth to this crazy situation. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and yeah, have a great day, and hopefully see you again one time. Bye. Yay.